And then there's an offering that is purified both by the giver and by the receiver. Okay, he explains it though. And what is the offering that is purified by the giver and not by the receiver? Here the giver is virtuous, of good character, and the receiver is immoral, of evil character. I was saying before, like I said, if we're talking to a lay person, give it to a monk. The lay person is virtuous and of good character, and the monk is not so well behaved, of evil character. But the offering is still purified by the giver, not by the receiver. And then the second example is, what is offering? The offering that is purified by the receiver and not by the giver. Here, the giver is immoral, of evil character, a bank robber, or a drug dealer. But the receiver is virtuous, of good character. Thus, the offering is purified by the receiver, by the virtuous monk, and not by the giver. And the third one I was saying before is you have, a thief who's giving to a monk who's not practicing, not keeping sila. Then the offering is not purified by the giver or the receiver. And what is the offering that is purified both by the giver and the receiver? Here the giver is virtuous, of good character, and the receiver is virtuous, of good character. Thus the offering is purified both by the giver and by the receiver. These are the 4 kinds of purification of offering. Okay. And then we go to the last paragraph. That is what the Blessed One said. When the Sublime One had said that, the teacher said further, when a virtuous person to an immoral person gives, with a trusting heart, a gift righteously obtained, placed in faith that the fruit of action is great, the giver's virtue purifies the offering. When an immoral person to a virtuous person gives, with untrusting heart, a gift unrighteously obtained, nor places faith that the fruit of action is great, still the receiver's virtue purifies the offering. But when an immoral person to an immoral person gives, with untrusting heart, and a gift unrighteously obtained, nor places faith that the fruit of action is great, then neither's virtue purifies the offering. But when a virtuous person to a virtuous person gives, with trusting heart and a gift righteously obtained, placing faith that the fruit of action is great, that gift, I say, will come to full fruition. And then this is the interesting last paragraph. When a passionless person to a passionless person gives, with trusting heart, a gift righteously obtained, placed in faith that the fruit of action is great, that gift, I say, is the best of worldly gifts. Okay. And I think on the note 1304, it says that the last verse refers to the gift of one arhat gives to another. Say, although the arhat believes in the fruit of karma, but because he was without desire and lust for existence, his own act of giving is not productive of any fruits. It is mere functional action that leaves no traces behind. Because a lot of our karma is for future birth. And we have 2 beings who've ended all that. That, the act of giving won't go any further because, it can't. Even though they still have right view, purified, the action is completely purified without any kind of craving. There is no future karma because they've ended it. It's completely gone. But it's still the best of worldly gift because it's still of this world. In terms of a few more comments, are there any questions or comments? Yes, like I said, giving even to an animal is fruitful. So if given to another religion, we say we don't have right view, but also right views, there are degrees. There are degrees of right view. We might not believe in terms of, karma specifically as we call it, but some people still believe that if you do good things happen, or there's a just God who metes out these kind of rewards. You call it karma, call it God or whatever. So it's still roughly right view. But as long as they're virtuous, it still purifies the gift. That's right. Yeah. Yes, you.
Venerable, this is just slightly off, but it's in paragraph 5, talking about a person who is outside, free from lust and sensual pleasures, but outside the dispensation. So how do you become inside the dispensation, and what does that mean? What does...
I think meaning by taking the 3 refuges and keeping the 5 precepts. So the 3 refuges, believe in Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. Outside dispensation, meaning people of other religion, but still, practice, some sort of, I think in the notes it says some sorts of jhana. And because, this is more controversial, Ajahn Brahms, his view is that only Buddhists discovered jhanas. The Buddha discovered jhana, but also in other places it says that in the Middle Ages, Catholic nuns and monks who could also achieve states of jhana by letting go to the divine being they call God. So it helps the letting go. So apparently people outside of the Buddhist dispensation can also achieve, absorption states, deep meditation, the jhanas, and the psychic powers that goes with it. So I think that's what he was talking about.
The other 5 precepts?
Yeah. Those are the 5 precepts that, most Buddhists, keep.
So is that what determines...
the person in dispensation, that's right. The 3 refuges and 5 precepts, those are the minimum qualification.
But what happens if they're keeping them and they don't realize that they are keeping them?
So that's what I mean. I think to get into jhanas, you have to have a certain level of sila. And even so, there is, if they have right view, it's better. But if they don't, it's still, a good, because the purity of their mind, there's still, a lot of merit to be had. Yeah. Let's see, any other comments? Yeah, just to emphasize, like I said, with them, on the dana. That dana is just, a part of the path that we have to go on to develop sila and panya. And that, there's a few quotes here that the Buddha says in relation to this dana that is, goes outside of this, sutta. But in the chapter of the 5s, in the Anguttara Nikaya, okay, then the householder Anathapindika, which is the Buddha's famous lay supporter, very wealthy merchant, okay, accompanied by 500 lay followers, approached the Blessed One. The Blessed One then said to them, "Householders, you attend upon the sangha of monks with robes, alms food, lodgings, and medicinal requisites for use in time of sickness, but you should not remain satisfied merely with this. Rather, householders, you should train yourself thus. How can we enter and dwell from time to time in the rapture of seclusion? Thus, you should train yourselves." When this was said, the Venerable Sariputta said to the Blessed One, "It is wonderful, Lord. It is marvelous, Lord. How well spoken." That statement of the Blessed One, "Wherever, Lord, a noble disciple enters and dwells in the rapture of seclusion, on that occasion, these 5 things come to him. Whatever pain and grief there is connected with sensual desire does not exist on that occasion. Whatever pleasure and joy there is connected with the sensual desire does not exist on that occasion. Whatever pain and grief there is connected with the unwholesome does not exist on that occasion. Whatever pleasure and joy there is connected with the unwholesome does not exist on that occasion. And whatever pain and grief there is connected with the wholesome does not exist on that occasion. So whenever a noble disciple enters and dwells in the rapture of seclusion, on that occasion, these 5 things come to him." It says, good Sariputta. So basically what it means is the rapture of seclusion is, samadhi, the first 2 jhanas, the first and second jhanas. So he's encouraging his, disciples that, just don't stop at dana, because that's where you get traditional Buddhists, quite happy to give and give instinctively and happily. But then you don't see much more development beyond the dana. And as you see that it is the start of the path, and it's very important, but there's so much more to do. Because, with the dana, we're opening our mind, making it positive, brightening it. But then we have to use that energy to go inward, to really calm the mind down. And then, with the samadhi, use that also wisdom to liberate ourselves.